And today I'm going to inform all of you about heart attacks. A heart attack is any damage that is done to an area of a heart muscle that is deprived from oxygen, which usually causes blockages of a coronary artery. And I chose this topic because a few weeks ago my dad actually had a heart attack at the age of 49. So today I'm going to talk about what causes a heart attack, symptoms that you're having a heart attack, how doctors fix them after you have one, and then the recovery process. So what causes heart attacks? One of the main things is food. If you eat a lot of fast food or fatty foods, it builds up your cholesterol, and if your cholesterol builds up so much, that's what blocks the arteries, so the blood stops flowing. And then another thing that causes a heart attack is it's like hereditary almost. Heart attacks aren't, but heart problems in your family are. So a coronary artery disease, which is when the arteries become smaller because of the built-up cholesterol, that's genetic, which increases your risk of having a heart attack. And Dr. William Haynes from University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics in the Division of Cardiovascular Disease states that there's an increase in the risk of heart attacks if parents or siblings have had a heart attack or stroke before the age of 45 for males and 55 for females. Something else that causes heart attacks is smoking. My dad's doctor actually said that 60% of the reason why he had a heart attack was from smoking, because it accelerates your likelihood of having the heart attack because you're 6 times more likely to have a heart attack than a person who doesn't smoke, because it builds up, it stops the blood from flowing because your arteries are being damaged from the smoke. And then another reason or cause is if you have heavy physical exertion. So according to the article, What Triggers Heart Attacks, in the Harvard Heart Letter by the Harvard Medical School, strenuous activities such as shoveling snow, running, or lifting heavy objects can trigger a heart attack. By that, they don't mean that you shouldn't do them, because obviously someone has to. But if you're not exercising or not doing anything, any sort of activities, then when you do something that strenuous, it does hurt your heart. And then another thing that the Harvard Medical School also said about heart attacks is that if you have a lot of anger or a lot of built-up emotions, that usually can trigger a heart attack because it raises your blood pressure. And then symptoms that you're having a heart attack. Usually the first symptom that people have is shortness of breath, even without having chest pains. But then another symptom is discomfort in the upper body, such as your arms, your chest, even your jaw, and sometimes your stomach. And then in my dad's case, his was a headache, and his doctor, Dr. Lula, he was a cardiologist for 17 years, and he does at least 10 surgeries a week. He said that only 2 patients have had it, so it's not that likely if you have a headache, you're having a heart attack. And then how doctors fix your heart issues after having a heart attack. They usually do an echocardiogram or an EKG, which provides them with information on how the heart is functioning. It can provide them information such as if your left ventricle, which is your main pumping chamber of your heart, is pumping correctly. After that, they usually can tell if something's wrong or something's offbeat from it. And it's when they print it out, it's kind of like one of those charts that go up and down with the lines. I don't know. So then they do an angiogram, which is a procedure that uses X-ray imaging to see if your heart's blood vessels. So they inject a dye through your blood vessels, and wherever the dye doesn't go, they know there's a blockage there. So they put in a stent that opens up the blockage so your blood can continue to flow. And then another thing, which for more serious cases, they do open heart surgery, which is any type of surgery where they cut open into your chest, and it's any surgery that's usually done on your heart muscles, valves, or arteries. And then the recovery process, right after you have a surgery or a heart attack, depending on how severe it actually is, depends on how much rest they want you to have, but they actually encourage more exercise as opposed to resting. And then usually after you're on a ton of medications, but the two main things that they put you on, they put you on pills that lower your cholesterol so your blood can continue to flow and you don't have any buildups. And then they also put you on blood thinning pills so that while like your blood's thinner so it can still continue to go through even if your stent does collapse. And then they schedule very frequent visits to visit them so they can make sure that the blood is still flowing, your stent didn't close, and everything's working properly. And then things that most people don't know, there's actually cardiac rehab, which is like walking on a treadmill or like running on a treadmill eventually and just doing little things like that. So in conclusion, anyone can have a heart attack at any point in time. There are ways to prevent it. So if you watch what you eat, exercise, eliminate bad habits like smoking, and get an adequate amount of sleep, you are reducing your chances of having a heart attack.